Hello everyone, Seraphin here, welcome back for more Fire Emblem Sacred Stones. When I last left you guys, we had just finished up one of the more annoying chapters in this game, I think, that being Chapter 5, and we will progress onward now to Chapter 5X, Unbroken Heart. So this is the only Gaiden chapter, the only side quest chapter in the game, and it is mandatory. There is no unlock requirement for it, you just get it, and you have to play through it. So I guess deal with it. Which, it's not that big a deal. Alright, so here we have that delightfully creepy gentleman Volter there. And this appears to be Tirado, one of his lieutenants, I'm going to assume. Or captains, maybe? I don't know what their ranks are in this. So, looks like he's been charged with hunting down Prince Ephraim, and they have been less than successful. Simply because Ephraim is employing some very effective guerrilla tactics. He's just kind of striking from the woods and then retreating right back into him, so... Ephraim is a very well-renowned strategist, apparently, too, so that's pretty cool. In addition to being awesome. You'll get to see that pretty soon, actually. So here's Volter saying, go find Ephraim and kill his face for me. I have many plans ready and waiting. Alright, well, what kind of plans are we talking here? Does the plan involve sitting here and waiting for him to come to you? Leafy playpen. Prince Ephraim's side is a friend, shall we say. So it seems that this guy has cleverly installed a mole in Ephraim's party, which is not cool. So here we have Prince Ephraim himself on the left there, obviously. And then off to his right are his loyal retainer knights. The left one, the blonde one, is Ford. And the green-haired one is Kyle. So as you can see, Kyle and Ford are the traditional red and green cavalier archetypes, which is exactly what they are. Ford is very similar to Kent from Blazing Sword in that he is kind of the nimbler, quicker cavalier, and Kyle is very similar to Sane in that he's very strong, and also quite tanky in this one. So the two of them play off each other quite well. Ford, fun fact, is actually Franz's older brother. Alright, so we're talking about how Ephraim and his party are running low on supplies and weapons, and now they have to find something else to do. Have you heard anything from Orson? Nope, nothing yet. There he is. This gentleman is Orson. He's another one of Ephraim's band here. Apparently there are people all over the place. We press onward. We're going to capture Renval. Ford's like, what? So here's Fort Renval. This is a castle that's surrounded by water, which is really awesome. Very defensible fort here. And Ephraim's planning on taking the thing down with just a small band of dudes. And Ford's questioning his sanity. What harm could a little reckless besieging cause? Yeah, well, I can't imagine. So Ephraim's plan here is to gain control of this fort and make the enemy focus on trying to get them out of it. So that'll distract them away from... He doesn't know that his dad is dead, so he's trying to distract them away from his home territory as well as from Erica. Attacking the castle is a ridiculous idea. What have we got to lose? Absolutely nothing. And here we have Ephraim's catchphrase for the rest of the game. That is, I don't pick fights I can't win. And he will not be saying that just the one time. He says that quite a bit. So here we have the castle guard on alert. They're like, wait, what? We're getting attacked? Yep, we get 4 guys to this entire fortress full of dudes. And I guess Orson got wounded last time, so he's, you know, not looking all that great right now. He's still deployable on this map. We'll talk about him in a minute. Speaking of people, let's talk about them right now. So here we have Prince Ephraim himself, the one and only. Ephraim is awesome. He is definitely up there in the pantheon of best lords in the game, or in the entire franchise, really. He's up there with the likes of Ike and Hector and Sigurd and whatnot. I would put him in the top 3 if I'm being totally honest. He's that good. So Ephraim comes at level 4. You'll see his stats are really good all around for a level 4 character. He's not lacking in any particular area with the exception of maybe resistance His con's a little low for a lance user, but that's alright. He doesn't have to worry about that too much. So yep, Ephraim does use lances, not swords, so it's a little weird that he taught his sister how to use one when he doesn't use one himself. But at any rate, he has a steel lance here, which is exactly what you're used to. You've already seen one of these. It weighs quite a bit, 10 might, reasonable hit rate. However, he does have also his personal lance. I'm going to pronounce it Regenleif, because I believe that's how you pronounce it. Regenleif, who knows. That being said, this is very similar to the rapier and the wolf bale and all that, so it is effective against cavalry and armored knights. And you'll notice the translation for this is correct. It does exactly what it says it does right there on the bottom. So why they didn't correct the translation for the rapier, I don't understand. But at any rate. So you'll see the Regenleif does not weigh him down at all. It's got a nice little bit of a crit rate built into it, and it's just as strong as that steel lance with even more hit. So we'll be relying on that a little bit. I don't want to waste it, so to speak. So I'll probably be holding off on using as much as I can, just to preserve it as long as I can. And Ephraim does have D rank and lances already. But Ephraim's growths are incredible in almost every area. I think the lowest growth he has is like 40%. And that's like in defense. I think, okay, he's got lower resistance than that, but not by a whole lot. So he's very well. In fact, he usually will max out most of his stats by the end of the game. So he's awesome. We're going to be using him quite a bit. Moving on to the classic red-green cavalier archetype, we'll start with Kyle. So Kyle, as I said, is very similar to Sane. You'll see he has quite a bit of strength, and he's also got quite a bit of defense. He's a level 5 cavalier. Not all that fast, 7 speed. That's reasonably good, though. He's got 10 con, though, which is also very nice. So he can wield steel swords without any speed loss, which is convenient because he doesn't come with one. He comes with an iron one. I'm thinking of somebody else. He does have a steel lance and an iron sword. He's also got slightly better weapon ranks than Franz. He's got D in swords, C in lances. So he's the tougher beat sticky cavalier, kind of, so to speak. And then moving on to Ford. As I said, this is Franz's older brother. He is similar to Kent. The problem with Ford is that he is upstaged by his little brother in almost every way, and that's really kind of sad. So you'll see Ford is level 6, and his stats are actually kind of similar to Franz at level 1, which is really sad. In fact, their con is the same. Franz, by this point, I think is maybe level 5 or level 6, and he's outclassed Ford in almost all these areas. So, yeah, there's really not a whole lot of reason to use Ford over Franz. I suppose you could use both if you really wanted to, but for my playthrough here, we're going to be regrettably largely neglecting Ford and moving on and just using Franz instead, which kind of sucks because I like the way I like his design quite a bit. He actually kind of reminds me of Edward Elric a little bit from Full Metal Alchemist, with the ponytail blonde hair and the red. It's armor, but it looks like it could be like a coat or something. I don't know. Anyway, so Ford's cool, but we're not using him. We are going to use Kyle quite a bit, I think, and we're obviously going to use Ephraim. And then moving on, we have Orson here. They made mention of him being injured. He's not. He's got full health. And you'll also notice that he is very similar to Seth in that he is a pre-promoted paladin. He's level 3, though, instead of level 1. And actually, his stats are about where Seth's are, if not a little bit lower in some areas. He's got far less luck. I think he's got a bit more con, though, and I'm not sure. I can't recall off the top of my head what Seth's stats are. At any rate, so he's another one of those Jagan archetypes. He comes with a silver sword and a steel lance. He's got A in both ranks. So he's there to help you out if you need it, but we should not be needing to rely on him. Ephraim is more than capable of handling just about everything on this map. In fact, one of my favorite things to do in this map is just let Ephraim kill everything by himself, because he can do it. He is that good. So, first and foremost, however, we are going to be trading over this javelin to Prince Ephraim here, because I would like him to have something to throw at people, and I also want him to have this vulnerary so he doesn't have to waste the elixir that he's currently holding, because that does fully heal you, and he does not need to necessarily rely on that. And then we'll have Ephraim sit on this pillar so we can engage those 2 soldiers that are about to come at him. And he's fast enough to use the steel lance and double both of them, and still double them with the steel lance, even though he's weighed down by 5, which is absurd. So we can kill both of them when they come at him without relying on using the Regenleif. The archer is going to come in and take a poke at him, but his defense is high enough and he's on that pillar that he'll be alright. And then we'll use Kyle as a backup, kind of, sort of. So I'm going to give him the steel sword and the iron sword, because he can use both. I wish I had an iron lance to give him or something that didn't slow him down quite so much. But, you know, you take what you can get. We have 3 steel lances, so I'm not going to be running out of those anytime soon, which is alright. And then, like I said, we won't need to be relying on Orson at all. So, as I mentioned, something I like to do in this chapter... I didn't turn animations on, I'm so sorry. I'll make sure to make up for that in a minute. Something I like to do in this chapter quite a bit is actually just let Ephraim kill everything by himself. And by the end of the chapter, he'll be pretty high level as a result, if you let him literally kill everything. Alright, he finally got hit there, it looks like. Alright, so let's turn animations on for him real quick before I forget again. Let's turn them on for everybody, why not? Just in case I need to use anybody else. So, what I might do is actually just kill off this archer with Kyle. I don't think he's fast enough, actually, to do that. So I'll stand here instead. And I will javelin this guy. Oh, look at that, just enough to kill him. Perfect. Alright, so let's do that. I do like Ephraim's sprite work also quite a bit, and his battle animations. He looks very cool. Alright, see how this level up turns out. Should be pretty good. Skill, speed, luck, that's alright. He's kind of reflecting his secret nature as a Myrmidon instead of a beatstick tanky unit. He does end up having the best of both worlds, actually. His speed growth is quite good, and you see his starting speed is really, really good. But he gets quite a bit of strength and defense as well, so he is not shy about combat in any respect. He's very similar to somebody like Crom, I think, too, from Awakening. Crom has very high strength growth and also very high speed growth, as well as pretty decent defense, so... I guess Ike is another really good similarity. Ike is really good in every single area, because he's Ike, and he's just ridiculous. So we're going to switch to the Regan Life, so that when the Armor Knight engages me, I can one-shot him. And then I'll back off Kyle a little bit. We're actually going to have Ford hold all the equipment. I know that sounds weird, but we're not using Orson anyway, and I don't want to be tempted to use Orson, because I don't want to rely on using a pre-promote right now. So we'll just park him down here, and Ephraim should handle this Armor Knight without any issues. He'll get poked in the process, but that's alright, he can handle it. One shot the Armor Knight with one poke from that spear. Absolutely ridiculous. And I get a door key. Oh shoot, I have to drop something. I didn't think about that, did I? I guess I don't need this vulnerary doing. I'll get another one for him. I completely forgot I don't have my caravan right now because it's with Erica, and Erica's not here. So in that case, did these guys drop anything too? No, they do not. That's fine. So we're going to park Ephraim right here. I'm actually going to use the elixir just to heal him up. And then let those two other guys come at him. I don't think... Well, I got to move Kyle, but other than that... They shouldn't go after him, or shouldn't need to go after him. So I am going to use Kyle as kind of like a backup dude, but I want to give Ephraim as much experience as I can here. There is a reason for that. I'm not sure that I necessarily want to divulge the reasons for that just yet, but it's going to be very evident fairly soon. So you'll understand why. Just know that there is a method to my madness. I'm not just trying to beef up and overpower Ephraim just because I like him a lot, although that is part of the reason. But that is not my sole motivation for doing what I'm doing here. So we're actually going to have Ephraim move up and grab that door. And I'm going to give him... I'm going to keep his Regan Life equipped for that fighter when he comes out. But we'll swing the door open real quick, and I'll have Kyle finish off this mercenary. Hopefully he doesn't have to worry about having any hit issues, which I don't think he will. I'm not as big a fan of Kyle's color palette here. He's got like this olive-colored green armor, which is cool, but then he's got like lime green hair to go with it. And that's... I guess it's not lime in his portrait, but in the sprite it is. I don't think it's not very... appealing in terms of a color scheme. It's a little weird. I like Ford's better quite a bit, actually. The crimson armor and the blonde hair, I don't know, but anyway. So I like Kyle as a unit, but as far as his design goes, I'm not as big of a fan. Man, Ephraim is dodging like crazy. Oh, he's also missing a little bit here. That's not cool. It's not very fun when he misses people. Man, yeah, he's hardly getting hit at all right now. That's pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, so what we'll do is... how much HP I got? He's at 8 left. What I might do... In fact, yeah, I'm gonna do it. We're gonna actually borrow that javelin real quick and whip it at this axe guy and see if I can't kill him real quick. Nope, never mind. That's alright. Ephraim has 2 slots open, so... What I'm going to do is trade back from some... I'm going to give him my elixir back and take my javelin. And then I'm going to whip the javelin at the mage. And that way I'll end up with both chest keys, and I can just use somebody to go crack those chests open, which will have lots of goodies inside. Just defense, that's not spectacular, but I will take all the defense I can get on Ephraim right now, honestly. He's only got 2 levels so far. As long as they don't all turn out that bad. I'm going to be honest, I've had a couple of times where, unfortunately, Ephraim's kind of gotten RNG screwed, which is not pleasant, as you might imagine. That guy's probably going to go for Kyle because he can't retaliate. No, he's going to go for Ephraim at point blank. That's a little strange. Probably because he's so... the enemy world AI will generally prioritize Ephraim over everybody else, especially if he's wounded, because he is the main character, and killing him means that I lose. So the AI is a little crafty like that. Rather than going for the smart tactical choice, which was going for Kyle because he can't retaliate, he decided to go for Ephraim instead. So we're going to give Ephraim his elixir back, I think, and take the chest key away, and I'll also give him a vulnerary to go with it. And then Kyle will be my chest opening dude while I swing around the side here and heal myself once more. Really was hoping to avoid having to use the elixir quite so much, but you know what? That's alright. I have the option to get more of them later. It's not that big a deal. Alright, so there's that. Here comes another fighter. Rather than waiting for Kyle to be finished, we're just going to keep moving on here. I can Regan Life this guy and kill him in 1 round, as long as I don't miss. You know what? I'll let him attack me, actually. That way I can just use a vulnerary and heal up. So we get a killer lance from one of these chests. That's going to be really nice, especially for Ephraim to have. He's not quite C rank yet, but he's almost there, so it won't be long. Let's see what this fighter does against me here. 7 damage is not a lot. That's considering he's got triangle disadvantage. Ephraim does anyway, that's pretty good. Oh, that's a crit. I love it. I love Ephraim's crit animation. So good. Alright, give me some strength, some defense, maybe, some speed. I'll take it. Skill, luck, resistance. That's none of the things that I wanted, but you know what? At least I got more than just 1 stat. Him getting resistance is nice because it doesn't happen very often, so I'll take it. His luck growth's actually quite high too, if you can believe it. So he's actually got really good strength. He's actually got really good growth in every area. The fact that he hasn't gotten strength, it's a little annoying, but I'm sure that will change. So let's get this other treasure chest real quick. Oh, look, another elixir. Perfect. I'll make use of that probably. Not right now, hopefully, but you never know. Move our cavalier troop right up behind him here. And I'm going to move up and equip my javelin and let this archer come at me. And I'll do a quick vulnerary heal just to make sure. Probably could have waited to do it until after I got shot at, because that guy's only going to do 3 damage to me, I think. Oh, 4. Yeah, well, still. I probably could have waited. That's alright. I want to try to preserve the javelin as much as I can, simply because I don't think I'm going to get another one in this chapter, and javelins are quite valuable. So we're just going to steel lance this guy to death and let the cavalier come at me. Alright, and then we'll just move up Kyle and Ford here. I don't think there's anybody that's going to ambush me from behind or anything, but I don't necessarily want to leave anybody behind just in case. Just going to kind of move ahead 1 bit at a time, quick, at a reasonable pace. And that's another crit from Ephraim there. That's awesome. That means I don't have to waste a turn hitting that guy again. I can just keep moving forward. So we'll just move him up here. I think that will allow him to get hit by all of those guys. Not the bottom soldier, but the one soldier and the knight will both come at me. And I think Ephraim is strong enough to hit or to kill that knight in 1 round, even without the Regan Life equipped, but we'll see. Alright, come at me, guys. Let's see how this goes. Nope, not quite. If he'd gotten a couple of points of strength. Another crit! Holy smokes! What is that, 3 in a row now? On like 4%? That's absurd. Alright, come on, Ephraim. Seriously, dude. You need to get some strength, pal. This is getting a little bit ridiculous now. Alright, he's going to need another vulnerary here pretty quick. I'm okay with him steamrolling everything as long as he's getting experience out of it, though. Yeah, so we'll heal him up with a Vulnerary and put him in range of all these guys again. Both these Cavaliers are going to come for him. Both of these soldiers. I don't want him to get hit by the Dark Mage just yet, so we'll park him right here, I think. Is that in range of both of these guys? It's actually in range of neither of them. Right here will do it, though, I think. Is that in range of him? Yep, sure is. Alright, so we'll go right here. Vulnerary up, and get at me, guys. Yeah, he shouldn't have any issue taking them guys down, honestly. He'll double the soldiers, but probably not the Cavaliers. He's just too slow for that, unfortunately. Or the stupid thing just weighs him down too much. Not that he's slow at all, it's just too heavy. I really wish that every game, in terms of weight and speed calculation, worked the way it does in Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn. Instead of basing your attack speed on your constitution, like your physical body size, it's based on your strength. So even if you're like a tiny little Pegasus Knight, if you've got a lot of strength, you can pick up and hold any weapon and not be slowed down by it, which I think makes sense. I mean, a case could be made that Con makes sense too, but I think strength is better, only because it gives you the opportunity to grow and get beyond that limitation. Whereas in these games, there is no way to increase your Con outside of using a body ring, which are very rare. In fact, I think in this game you only get one. In fact, you might not get any. In Blazing Sword, you saw I got, what, 2 throughout the course of the entire game, and I gave them both to the same guy, which I guess I didn't have to do, but... let's let Kyle have a kill for once. Let's let him kill one of these two guys. He's not able to do it with his sword, but if he uses a steel sword, maybe. Oh yeah, so steel sword will have him kill this guy. And we're going to move Ephraim onward. Actually, I'm just going to have him huck a javelin, I think. That'll put it at an even 12 uses, which is fine. And as you can see, we're about halfway through the castle already. There's not a whole lot left to do down here. There's a smattering of dudes and whatnot. This guy's holding another elixir. I don't think there's much else in the way of stuff to worry about having to pick up. I think eventually... You'll see this mage is standing on some stairs. I think eventually a thief spawns and actually tries to get the treasure if you didn't already get it, but obviously I already took care of that, so it's not an issue. There's actually a couple of mages in here. Thankfully, Ephraim's gotten a couple of resistance level ups, so he's not quite as vulnerable to that as he would have been. You'll see he's almost already at B rank in lances too, which is absurd. He started out at D rank. Using heavier weapons, that's another advantage of those that I don't think I touched on. So... Iron weapons are nice because they are very lightweight and they have reasonable power behind them, but they're not, like, you know, super reliable in terms of killing potential, at least not until later in the game. And they don't give you a whole lot of weapon experience either, but they're also the only thing you can use for most of the game starting out. Steel weapons are a good deal heavier, and it's very difficult for most units to be able to wield them and then still maintain their ability to double hit, with a couple of exceptions. But the nice thing about steel weapons is not only are they're heavier and less accurate, but they are a bit stronger, and they also give you double the weapon experience. So iron weapons give you 1 weapon experience per use, whereas steel give you 2. And I know it's only 1 point higher, but it is still double, so it makes a big difference. So using steel weapons to increase your weapon rankings is very effective. And I think there's a weapon in this game that we're going to get later on. And if you watched Blazing Sword, you might have seen me use it a few times. There's a weapon called the Devil Axe. And the Devil Axe is in just about every Fire Emblem game, actually. But the way it works in the Game Boy Advance games here, at least particular this one and Blazing Sword, I don't know if it does the same thing in Binding Blade or not. But the way the Devil Axe works is it has a backfire rate, just like every Devil Axe in every game does. So there is a slim chance that you'll end up hurting yourself with it. Which is very unfortunate because it's also quite powerful. In fact, I think it has the highest might of any non-legendary axe in the game. But assuming you don't hit with it, or even if you do, maybe it does work that way. But it's incredibly powerful, incredibly heavy, and very inaccurate. But it gives you 8 weapon experience per swing, even if you miss, which is ridiculous. So if you're trying to level up somebody's axe ranking, like if they just promoted and now they can use axes and you want to get them leveled up quickly, the Devil Axe is a great way to do that. As long as you're not concerned too much about hitting yourself in the face. because that does happen from time to time. Again, if you saw my Blazing Sword playthrough, you'll know that I've had a couple of dangerous run-ins with the Devil Axe. But it is quite useful for that purpose, for training yourself up to be able to use better weapons later on. Defense, skill, and speed. Again, I'm a little worried about his strength right now, but everything else is looking okay for the time being. What else is he using right now? He's got another elixir now instead of that vulnerary, which I don't think he really needs, if I'm being totally honest, so I think I'll have Ford trade that out from him. So we'll take the elixir away and give another vulnerary. And then we've got more melee guys to contend with down here, which is fine. We'll go Steel Lance. I've got plenty of Steel Lances if I need them. I got 2 more lying in the wings, so let's give him a vulnerary heal real quick. And we'll park Kyle right behind him and leave the support squad, so to speak, in the back here. This soldier is going to be minced very quickly because they all just kind of fall apart in front of Ephraim here. See, that's the thing, is these soldiers are so pathetic, but they have the same weapon and they have presumably just as much armor as Ephraim does, but he just completely owns them. Sadly, the soldier class in the Game Boy Advance Fire Emblems is kind of a joke. They're just kind of like the rank-and-file cannon fodder enemies in a lot of cases. Their stats are just garbage in every area. Yeah, look at this. I mean, come on, really? 1 in everything? I guess they have a little strength and some decent HP in a lot of cases, but other than that, they're pathetic. That being said, the soldier class in Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn is actually quite fearsome. They got a major buff to their combat abilities in those 2 games, and that's actually part of the reason why I like those 2 so much, is there's no, like, pathetically weak enemy type that is just, like, a joke. All the enemies are terrifying, especially in Radiant Dawn, and especially early on. If anybody's ever played Radiant Dawn, the first part of that game is brutally difficult. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that every enemy you fight is just as good as any one of your guys. And you don't have generally all that strong a guy starting out in that game. In fact, a lot of them are really low level and come with very just basic combat abilities. Alright, so we got a knight to deal with, and we've got a mage down here. Why don't we deal with both of them at once? No, that's not a smart idea. Why don't we just deal with not the armor knight? If I go right here, I can hit the mage and the archer and not worry about the knight. So we'll go javelin, and I will heal up again. And got 1 vulnerary use left, which should be enough. Oh yeah, so having 4 resistance is actually pretty nice. He's not taking anywhere near as much damage from these guys as he otherwise would have. 4 resistance isn't a lot, like, don't pretend that it is, but it's any resistance is nice to have when you're a melee-eccentric unit and you're worried about dealing with mages. There we go, double-digit strength and defense. Plink! I love it. That sound is so gratifying to hear. It's so good. Alright, so Ephraim's turning out great right now. I'm very happy with where he's at right now. Let's see, he's at level 11. I'll probably get him to at least level 12 before the end of the chapter. Maybe I'll give Kyle a couple of experience. I'll give at least 1 kill. We'll get him to level 6, see how he does. Maybe he can get double-digit strength and defense, too. So let's go deal with these chumps up here. And if I move right in front of the knight, the shaman will not hit me. This monk, however, will be able to, but that should be fine. These guys don't do a lot of damage. 12, 12, 13. So I'll take a total of 7 from them. Puts me at 6 HP. Yeah, I'll die from the shaman if I don't heal up, so why don't we just do that? Oh, he's not going to hit me, though. Yeah, we're fine. What about the monk, though? What's the monk got? 6. I'll take 2 from him. I'll take a total of 9 damage. That's fine. I'll park Ephraim right here. I'll just kill this guy right now. I'll Steel Lance him to death. Let's do it. Let's do it. He might not even hit me. Nope, he does not. That's the really nice thing about Ephraim having high speed, too, is that even when he's slowed down by this stupid heavy lance, he's still able to dodge like a beast. Alright, we'll let Kyle take care of the shaman. How about that? That should get him the level up that I would like him to have. Is there another chest over here? Did I miss something? No, that's later on. Okay. Nice try. I'm actually going to go through an entire Steel Lance in one chapter. I mean, it makes sense, right? A lot of people like to complain, especially newer players to the series, about the fact that another crit, awesome, about the fact that the weapons in this game have ammunition, effectively, like they have limited numbers of uses. Personally, I think it's a really neat mechanic. Holy smokes, that was a good level up for him. I think it's a really neat mechanic because it forces you to consider, you know, when is the right opportunity to use this weapon. He didn't get hit by any of those 4 guys. It forces you to think about when to use a certain weapon in a certain situation, that kind of deal. He's going to use his last lance he used to puncture this guy in a single hit. Awesome. I love it. Alright, so that's the end of that steel lance, but that's fine. It definitely served its purpose. And then we'll have Kyle go and take a whack at this here Dark Mage. We'll just use the Iron Sword, that's all he needs to worry about using. Kyle's resistance nowhere near as good as Ephraim's right now. I think he's got 1 point. That's alright. He might level off killing this guy. Yep, there we go. Perfect. So level 6 Kyle. There we go. 10 defense, 7 skill. I'm alright with that. Having a tanky Cavalier is never a bad thing. Never a bad thing. Especially because Cavaliers, it's not... I mean, they're really well-rounded units, don't get me wrong, but there's very few of them, historically, in the series that rely on, or that focus so much on defense. Kyle is one of the few that does. Lowen from Blazing Sword is another example. He's very definitely... what's the word I'm looking for here? Defense-focused. Wow, I can one-round the boss with the Regan Life. Do I want to do that? Yeah, let's do it. It's because this guy is... First of all, this guy has pathetic stats for a boss, but second of all, he's using a steel blade, which is the heaviest sword in the game, and he's not fast enough to use it Oh my gosh, really? The double wasn't even necessary. I crit the boss to death. This is just a testament to how awesome Ephraim is. Oh, really? That's alright. That's actually kind of good, because then I can level him up next time I get him. So, you see, we used the map we used Ephraim to clear just about the entire map, and he's 2 points off from level 13, which is honestly a great place to leave him. And look at these stats. That's just fantastic. I love it. So good. I would have preferred a little more strength, but you know what? He's got plenty of room to grow still, so I'm not too worried about it. So that's the whole map cleared out. We got all the treasure. There's nothing else to worry about lurking around here. I don't think there's any reinforcements that spawn. So that should be everything. Let's go ahead. Yeah, let's just clear the map and call it a day. Although, I tell you what. Let's do some equipment reorganizing here, just real quick. Let's go ahead and give Ephraim another steel lance again. I didn't even use the killer lance. I didn't think about that. Totally could have used the killer lance the whole time, but I didn't have to. Alright, how's Ford doing on equipment here? I guess he can have a sword. Nah, he doesn't need it. We're just going to give everything to Kyle and let Ford be my pack mule, so to speak. And Ephraim will seize the throne, and that's that. Side quest done. What a plan, what a battle. It's like, yeah, we just turn this guy loose and he kills everything. We don't have the manpower to hold it in a siege. So he takes the castle over and he's like, let's get out of here. Like, what? We're surrounded. That sucks. Yeah, good luck with that. Oh, there's that dude again. The misguided Prince Ephraim? I'd hardly call him misguided. Oh, crap. Whoops. I hit the wrong button and skipped the story. Needless to say, Ephraim was about to ask Walter how he took the capital, and Walter was just going to taunt him more, and basically Ephraim is, like, you know, they're about to attack him, and he's just like, break! And then they all run away, and then they get away. Magically, somehow. I don't pretend to understand how it works. Any rate, so apologies for that. I didn't mean to do that, but You didn't miss hardly anything, I promise. We got all the good, important stuff out of the way. So moving on, we're going to go... That was the only side quest, like I said. So moving on to the next chapter, we'll be going right back to the main party with Erica and Seth and all them. They just had that one little interlude to introduce us to Ephraim and give us a chance to try him out and get him introduced to everybody else and whatnot. So Chapter 6, back with Erica and the main party, so stay tuned for that. That being said, I appreciate you all watching and sticking up to this point. It has been fun. I really appreciate it, and I love this game. So join me next time in Chapter 6. Until then, this has been Seraphin. Stay classy, internets.